Hola! Welcome to another Spanish lesson. In this lesson, we're going to be learning how to build our Spanish vocabulary. There are some tricks that we're going to be learning along the way, and one of those tricks is a topic called cognates. Now, cognates are words that have some resemblance between both languages. There are three kinds of cognates. We have exact cognates. Those are cognates that are spelled the same way in both Spanish and English, but the only difference is with the pronunciation. We have direct cognates, that's what we're going to be looking at in this video. And we have indirect cognates. That will be in another video completely. And so let's just get straight into looking at our direct cognates. Now with direct cognates, there is a slight variation in the spelling of the words, but there is still some similarity that you can actually pick up the relationship between the two words. So you know, okay, this particular word in English correlates to that particular word in Spanish. And so we're going to be looking at 6 clues or 6 indicators that you can use to know that you're dealing with a direct cognate, and you can actually translate the English word into Spanish or vice versa, and it helps to build your vocabulary without you having to ever reach for a Spanish dictionary or Google Translate. And so the first category that we're going to be looking at are those Spanish words that end with C-I-O-N. So let's organize our page here. So we have, I think I want to put 2 columns. So we have Spanish and we have English. Let's move our numbering down a little bit so we get some space. So the first category that we're looking at are those words in Spanish that end in C-I-O-N. They correlate to English words that end in T-I-O-N. And we're going to look at some examples under each. Let's change our color. Purple is a lovely color. And so let's look at this one. A-D. You know what? I think I'm going to change up the endings so that we can see them a little bit clearer, so that they stand out, so we know exactly what we're dealing with, right? So this ends with C-I-O-N. Now, if the rule says if it ends with C-I-O-N, it correlates or is equivalent to T-I-O-N, it therefore means we can take it over to the English column and do this. And then that C-I-O-N becomes T-I-O-N. And so admiration, admiration. Let's look at another. Find our purple. And after a while, you're going to begin walking around, finding these words on your own and recognizing the relationship between them. Oh, we're looking at AT, not AD. So atención in the Espanol becomes attention in English. Let's look at another. Oh, but before I look at that, you would notice that in the Spanish we have 1 T, and in the English we have 2 T's. Now in Spanish, we don't really have the doubling up of letters unless it's in a specific situation. So you have the double R, which is already a part of the Spanish alphabet. you will also have two C's coming together. Another letter that is double sometimes is L, and another letter is N. No other consonants are double in Spanish. And so the double consonant in English is dropped and becomes a single consonant in Spanish. Let's look at three more examples in this category because I want to ensure that you understand and that you're seeing the relationship coming out between the words as we go along. And I just mentioned something and it's coming up even as I just mentioned it. You're going to see it, don't worry about it. So this is an example of what I just said, that the double C is one of those letters that is allowed to be doubled up. But you're going to see how it correlates and why you would have ended up with a double C. Because if the dirección in Spanish becomes direction. And so that T would have changed over to the C. Some say direction, some say direction. Doesn't really matter. Let's look at another example. Here we have something similar to what we just did above with that double C coming into play. Producción becomes production. And one more example in this category, and I think we can close it off because you basically get the gist by now, right? Let us use this one. Civilización becomes civilization. And so that caps category 1 of direct cognates. Another category, category 2, that we can use in terms of the clues for the cognates, the direct cognates, is we're going to be having Spanish that end with, I'm looking down at my notes here just to make sure I don't lead you astray. Spanish that ends with DAD is equivalent to the English ending TY. And we're going to pull our examples right away. So we have a, u, to, ri, dad, and that converts with a minor spelling adjustment to authority. Now notice how I pronounced the word autoridad. Every syllable, every letter has to be heard. Let's look at this one. Curiosidad. And this becomes curiosity. See how easy this is? I guarantee that by the time we're done with this lesson today, you're going to just walk around and find all of these words, and you're going to say, well, I know that word. I know that word. That word is, and that word is. And you're going to seem as if, oh, you are so brilliant. You've learned Spanish overnight. It's just a little trick to the trade. Don't worry about it. Here's another nice example. Generosi. And we put on our dad. So these words just look like what they are with some minor spelling changes. Generosity. Another example for this category, posibilidad. And remember what I said earlier in category 1, that we don't have many Spanish letters that are doubled up. And so we have just the one S in the Spanish word, but in the English, we need to give it back its doubled up S. All right, one more example for this category. Well, this is a very lovely one. And I would just want to ensure that you pronounce it the way it is supposed to be pronounced. So the temptation is going to be to say universidad. Remember, the U in Spanish is not U. It doesn't have its name. It's U, universidad or universidad. Universidad. And this becomes university. These are just so easy. I could teach cognates from now until it's such a fascinating and a fun topic. And if I seem to be moving fast, you can always pause and rewind and play it over again. That's not a problem. You're not on any time constraints right now.